Hello, my friends, and welcome to another segment of Hanging with the Boss Lady. I am your host, the Boss Lady herself, Cheryl Jones, aka that little old country girl. How are you doing this beautiful Friday morning? I pray that everyone is doing well. And I just want to say that I'm excited and pleased and honored to be able to share my thoughts with you today. And today I want to continue talking about something that I started talking about last week. Last week, I started talking about the different foods that we eat when we reach a certain age that does not necessarily do us any good. So, if someone is saying, well, why are you starting to talk about foods, how it affects you when you reach a certain age? Because, my dear, I have reached that certain age. Yes, I did. And I'm excited and happy about it. I am officially 66 years into this new chapter. So grateful to God for still being alive. And I have learned many things. I want to start again by saying I am not in what you would call A1 health condition, all because of some things that I have done in my younger years, which I shared about on last week. Sometimes you have to be transparent in order to get your point across to people. And I don't mind being transparent because I want to help you. I would be honored to be of assistance to you to help you be the best that you can be. Let me tell you a little bit about my story. I went to the doctor November of last year because I was having trouble breathing. And of course, I am a COVID survivor. I suffered very bad from COVID. I was in the hospital for 5 days. Thank God I'm well. I survived it and I'm doing much better. But for years, I suffered with congestive heart failure. So I have been on medication to help strengthen my heart, to help keep the blood flowing in, and I have to use diuretics, to help the water flow through my body. Now, on last year, the end of last year, I started having trouble breathing. It got very labored to the point where I could not even hold a conversation without gasping for air. I would say like 5 words, and I'm like, literally, I had to stop and catch my breath. And it got so bad, and I had to go to the ER. When I went to the ER, they took a few tests and they listened to me, and they told me that I had AFib, which means that my heart was beating out of rhythm and they needed to restart my heart. Just hearing something like that caused me to say, oh my God, they have to restart my heart. I had never heard of anything like that. Someone restarting your heart. All sorts of thoughts came through my mind, sorts of pictures came through my mind, and I just knew that I was not going to survive this. Now, mind you, I believe God can do all things, and I believe that I am strong in my faith, and I trust God. However, there are times that I will let this natural side of me run rampant in my mind to the point where I will get fearful. And but I did not hesitate to have this procedure done. I was admitted into the hospital that day, and they had the procedure done. They they put me to sleep, and they restarted my heart so that my heart would be on the correct rhythm. Thank God I'm talking to you today, so we know that it was successful, and I have been feeling awesome ever since then. And so you can see I can talk. I can talk, and I don't lose my breath, and it all comes very easy. And I'm, honored that God gave me another chance. He strengthened me, and I'm going forward. And I had no intention of stopping. So, what I'm doing with the beauty of the fact that I have life, I keep spreading the news to help other people see all the wonderful things that they can do if they eat right, if they do the right things to stay healthy and strong. So, what I have decided to do, I decided to start talking about the foods that we eat and the effect that it has on us, whether negative or positive, in order for us to be our best self. Now, as I began to keep my follow up appointments with the doctor, I began to find out that there are a few other things that was not quite right. She told me I was diabetic, which I refused to believe, but and that was in the beginning of the year, and I'm proud to say that as of right now, I am no longer listed clinically as diabetic. Those numbers straighten out because I changed my diet, because I don't want to live a life where I'm just an invalid. I know that there are a lot of things that can happen in our life that cause us to have to slow down and do things different. And even though I am listed as a handicap with my driver's license, I am not an invalid. I can still move around on my own. I can prepare my own meals. I can bathe myself. I wash my own clothes. I clean my own house. To God be the glory. I'm still operating under my own health and strength, and I wanted to stay that way. So I adopted a lifestyle of change that involves me eating better. Yes. And I know a lot of people say, you have to exercise, you have to do a lot of walking and things. Yes, that is true. You have to. Walking is excellent, especially for your heart. And exercise is good, to get up and move around. It keeps the blood flowing and everything, and all of that is good. But one of the major things is what we put in our body and the effect that it has on us. Because, my friend, sometimes with all of the exercise that you do, with all the walking that you do, if you don't eat right, you will begin to attack your own self from the inside out. So, yes, if you are walking, continue walking. Bravo, good for you. If you are exercising, make sure that you do it healthily. Do it in a way that it's not going to harm you. And again, kudos to you. But make sure, my friend, that you are putting the right thing in your body. Because if not, all of your hard work is going to go for naught, because you will begin to feel the effects of eating foods that will tear you down from the inside. Now, what I want to do is I want to share with you. Last week when I talked to you, I talked about some foods that you should not eat because it is not the best thing for you. So today, I'm going to talk to you about some foods that are good for you. Why? Because nobody wants to always hear you say, don't do this and don't have that. We don't want to be on the negative train. We want to be on the positive train. So on the positive train, we are going to talk today about some foods that you can eat, especially when you're after 50. Foods that you can eat that will actually benefit your body. You see, when we reach that age where you're after 50, a lot of different things begin to happen to your body. One of the things is your bones can weaken. That's why we have to go and get that bone density scan. And then, the muscle mass begins to decline, when you get right up in the 50s and the 60s. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that to stay healthy, we eat the foods that strengthen all the different organs and parts of our body from the inside out. So let's talk about some of the foods that you should eat that is beneficial to you. And we are going to start with meat. And when I say meat, I mean seafood. Seafood like salmon, tuna, cod, and trout, those are lean sources of protein, which older people need to keep their muscle strong. Now, it's really important that we try to stay away from fried foods. And when you want to try to eat the things that's good for you, poultry, seafood is good for you. It is a good source of protein. Okay? And here's something else that's also good for you: nuts, seeds, and soy products. Okay? These things help you, especially when you're in your older years. Okay, now here's another thing about seafood that you might not have known. Fish is also a good source of vitamin B12. And that's something good for us to know. So when you want to get that meal, of course you can eat, you have to eat, but you want to eat healthy so that it helps you to have a good long life. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is berries. Berries provide one-stop nutrition. Okay? Berries are high in fiber and vitamin C, and they're anti-inflammatory, antioxidant flavonoids. Okay? Fiber is something that helps to keep us regular, and it helps to manage our weight, and it also protects us from diseases like, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and things like that. So what we want to do is we want to not snack on chocolates. We want to not snack on chips. We don't want to snack on all of these little, sweet things that we feel like we just want something, we get the munchies. If you want to get the munchies, make sure that you munch on the things that is good for you. And berries is good for you. It will help you in the long run. Okay? Now, another thing that we want to make sure that we eat plenty of is dark green leafy vegetables. And like I said, as we get older, our bones become softer and we need calcium. So when you want to get that calcium, something you can have is dark green leafy vegetables, stuff like broccoli and spinach and kale. They're all high in fiber, okay, and it will boost the muscle function. Now these are things that is very good to the palate, tastes good, and it is good for you. And we want to make sure that we eat those things that's going to help keep us going strong. Okay, and when you is high in fiber, it keeps you regular, because sometimes if you take medications and things like that, it tends to promote constipation, and that is something you don't want to have to deal with. Okay, now we've already done seafood, dark leafy vegetables, and we talked about berries. The next thing we're going to talk about is cottage cheese. Cottage cheese. It's a great source of whey protein. I love cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is delicious. I have it with my eggs almost every morning, and it is very good for you. It's high in calcium and vitamin D, and it's good for your bone mass. So if you haven't tried it, try it. It's delicious to me, and it might be something that you might like. Okay. Another thing that we need to pay attention to, something that we need to enjoy: beans. Beans and legumes. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Okay. They're loaded with fiber and protein. Okay. And they're low calorie. So make sure you get the dry beans. The dry beans are the best. And it's really just good for you. And if you can't find the dry beans, if you get the other beans, just open the can, rinse it out, just rinse it off. And if you rinse the beans off and then you eat them, you've taken off about 41% of the protein that's on those beans. Okay, the beans that are in the can, they have a lot of protein in them. I guess that's the preservatives that they put in it. So if you rinse them off and go ahead and cook them, you will have something that's doing something good for the inside of you. And two more things I want to mention. Number one, avocados. That was a new one for me because growing up, we never even looked at avocados when we went shopping, you know. And not only do they taste good, they're good for you. Avocados are really, really good for you. Okay, now it says here servings of avocado a week can lower the risk of cardiovascular disease. So, it does great things for the inside of you. So, I highly recommend that you start eating avocados. Enjoy them. And last but definitely not least, drink lots of water, my friend. Lots of water. Let water be your best friend. Don't drink sodas. Don't drink these sweet drinks. Don't drink these power aids, these drinks that will give you bursts of energy. These things do not benefit you in the long run. What benefits you? Water. Clean water. It has none of the added sugars and all of these little ingredients that they put in it to give it flavor. Water is good for you. I suggest you keep water by your bedside. So, these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you today to help you know that there are things that you should stay away from, but there are also some very good things that you can keep by you. The berries, the nuts, okay, the green leafy vegetables, cottage cheese, avocados, water, fish, chicken, okay, lean meats, okay, and always make sure that your meats are done well. So I hope that this helped you out today to put a little, thought in your mind. And I hope it made you hungry, that make you want to go and try some of these things. That would be great. Why? Because you have to eat. So might as well eat well, okay? That's from the boss lady herself. I want you to live a full, productive, happy, healthy life. So if there's anything I can do to help you do that, I'm going to do that. And I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and share with everyone that you know. If you have not already done so, please subscribe. And I would love to hear from you to give your thoughts on what I said today. Now it's time for you to get back to your day. Enjoy the remainder, and until we meet again, may the Lord God bless you real good. Boss Lady out.